Wandering around the Biennale site recently, we were struck by a statement Marissa made in her opening statement, where she said that Hong Kong is both global and local. And following on from that, when we were wandering around the site, there's the Urban Rethink Tank, which is one of the BYO bench series of our proposals, and bring your own booth, sorry. And it's to do with the Graham Street market over in Central. For those of you that probably all know, the Graham Street market is this fantastically intense piece of urban landscape that sits cheek by jowl in the middle of Central, that is a fish market, meat market, and one of those really fantastic places that is a real sort of link in the community of Hong Kong. It's a real touchstone for many people, and it's a place that people, I think, grow up with and associate with. It's a real participator in the community, and it has a strong cultural legacy for people. This, if you like, I guess, is one of the key cultural attributes for that area, and it's one of those things that we need to really keep hold of. The whole open market hawker tradition goes back to the very beginnings of Hong Kong, and we were looking into it, and they initially in Hong Kong, 50% of the people in Hong Kong traded in this very sort of open market store way. That's been slowly, tragically diminishing over the years, and in 1970, no more of these licenses were allowed to be given. So these areas are sort of diminishing and dying. And URA has a sort of a remit to enhance and support these open markets, but they're dying because then people there are not giving any chance to move forward. These licenses are not passed on from generation to generation, so therefore the surroundings are not upkept because there's no future in it. So we have these markets here that are potentially sort of echoes of Hong Kong's fantastic trading position, and are, if you like, the local part of Marissa's Hong Kong is both global and local. The question we need to ask, I guess, is then how do we keep hold of this global and local perspective? So if we have these markets, which are the epitome of the local, how do we maintain that in the face of all the global? Jeff Wong, who's one of the Urban Rethink Tank units guys that put the booth together, used to work with us, and we met him to talk about it. He was saying that Hong Kong is really becoming only the international, so the local is dying, and therefore we are left with a Hong Kong which is predominantly all these things that we see around us here. So although this is a truly astounding backdrop to this incredible event, is this the future for Hong Kong? Is this what we want for Hong Kong? This is only international, this is potentially only global. So where is the global and where is the local? We're dominated, it seems, by streets that are full of Starbucks at any turn, and there are no cultural differentiators in a Starbucks. The one here in Hong Kong is the same as the one in London or Reykjavik or New York. The only cultural differentiator is the person who wears the same uniform. Therefore, we're kind of losing our local in this sort of Starbucksization of the planet, it seems a tragic waste. I lived in the UK in the early 1990s, which was a time of in a sort of a post-Thatcher world where Mrs. Sanchez said there is no more society, and the tragedy that this wreaks on the urban environment of the UK is there for everyone to see. If you land in any high street in the UK now, you actually don't know whether you're in Nottingham, Manchester, London or Liverpool. They're all exactly the same. So they're sort of the cultural differentiator that are part of that has gone. So there's a crying need to make sure that we maintain these differentiators, and then that becomes a key part of what we do. It seems to me that also the follow-on from this is that imitation is a big part of this. It's a big part of the idea that people imitate what they are flattered by, imitate what they are envious of. So I guess there seems to be an interesting question that if we are all imitating what we are flattered by or envious of, then and these edifices here are sort of these monoliths to commerce and success and finance that drive this thing forward, but have little relation to Hong Kong, but are sort of driven by the markets that drive all these major economies, irrespective of cultural difference or social differences. Then I guess as with the world shifts towards China, and China becomes the most powerful country or economy on the planet, and they participate more in terms of then the global economy and the global cultural dimension, will the world then begin to imitate China? So will China then become the driver for change, and therefore will Graham Street Market be reinstated because it's now back in favour? And will then other cities then copy that? Will other markets begin to copy these things? So will the whole thing turn full circle? The other booth, which we just liked when we were walking around the Biennale, the one that seemed amusing and also interesting in this context of Hong Kong and the culture and what drives culture and an appropriate architecture for or urbanism for Hong Kong, is Douglas Young's West Kowloon Walled City, which I believe was pulled down in 1993 with that intensity of and density of urban living, which is uniquely Hong Kong again. It seems to be an appropriate vision for this city. Is this the indigenous Hong Kong architecture? So is this more relevant than this or this? Is this where we should be? Is this where we should be heading? This super dense. And then if we have the super dense, do we then have the green spaces round about? The urban farms that are just out here too, which are also terrific, because then does that mean if we have super dense, we can also have a more sustainable environment that goes with all of that? I guess in my final point, I guess, is it's probably maybe interesting that Donald's here, if he puts his Nan Fung hat on rather than his ARB hat. I guess, is this the future of commercial architecture in Maybe that's where we can kind of leave it there. Well, Mike, I can pass you for the dessert.